Yes, everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. This obviously broke late last night. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying that he would say yes every single day of the week if he was asked by Manchester United to return as manager. He's obviously been out of management since he was sacked by United a couple of years ago, actually. Now it's been a few years out for him. He was initially hired as interim manager following the dismissal of José Mourinho. It feels like such a long time ago, this now. And although he guided us to both a second place finish behind City in the 2021 season and then a third, he was unable to bring in any silverware, which is a massive complaint against him, which hasn't really seemed to insulate Erik ten Hag, ironically. Permanent successor Erik ten Hag has seemingly got increasing pressure on him after just 3 wins in 8 games so far this season. Solskjær said he wouldn't rule out a second stint as manager if the club made the call. So I'll read some of his quotes and then we'll get into it. And then obviously you guys let me know your thoughts as well in the comments. He says, if the family, meaning United, ask, then I would say yes every day of the week. So he did a Q&A at the Oslo Business Forum where these quotes came from. He said, it feels wrong to talk about jobs that other people have now, but of course I would say yes. Ten Hag supposedly urged patience from United supporters in the press conference ahead of the Tottenham game. He said, we're still working and progressing. We made a choice to sign very young players. We believe in them this moment and also for the future, and we have to build them. It takes time. I am patient. I want to go straight forward, but we also had success in 2 seasons. And then there's a statement from Berrada, which I'll get into in a second. I just find it very interesting. There was some heavy defeats to Chelsea, to City, to Spurs, and there were some fantastic moments as well. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we had some of our most free-flowing and attacking football, but we also, lost to the likes of Burnley, and Everton absolutely smacked us about. Now you can have a look at those 11s and see, the Ashley Young-laden teams that we put out in those days, and wonder, would it be better now? Would we be able to transform what we were doing now with the players that we've got now? I personally think Ole was the best manager that we've had post-Fergie. But I also thought it was the right time to let him go at the time we let him go, because for whatever reason, he wasn't making it work. And I think the most important thing in the fact that he wasn't making it work is, I got the impression that he didn't feel like he had the tools to turn it around. And also, Ole wasn't the only man doing that job. People forget there's a massive team when it comes to coaching. So Alex Ferguson had a team around him that allowed him to be able to make the decisions that he made. In the 99 book by Matt Dickinson, he talks about when Brian Kidd leaves and he brings in Steve McLaren, Fergie was fucking stressing before he got Steve McLaren in. Yes, there's the figurehead, and it's a very important role, but it is a team thing with the assistants and the other coaches. And Ole was aided, and you would presume, because of the success that they've both had since, by Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna. Would both of those now come back to work again under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if he was offered the opportunity to be Manchester United manager? I don't think so, to be honest. I don't think so. So, as much as I thought there was a lot of good, even at the time, that Ole was doing that he wasn't getting the credit for, I don't think it would just be the exact same if he was brought in. And another thing I don't really understand as well, I've got to be honest with you, is a lot of people saying they want Ruud van Nistelrooy if it goes tits up with Erik ten Hag. Because for me right now, Ruud van Nistelrooy is the one that's taking these training sessions. Ruud is going to have had a massive hand in the success or failure of this current Manchester United side. So what differences do you think it would be by him moving over to the manager position and us bringing in another assistant to sort of take training? Because the training sessions I've seen is Ruud van Nistelrooy taking them, and then the likes of Rennie Hack and Erik and some other coaches like Darren Fletcher have been, doing a little bit of titivating, talking to someone, just fixing something. So it's one of these. Will says, Ole with this set of attackers would be very, very interesting for the attacking side. IR says, I love Ole. Definitely the best manager we've had post-Fergie, but you've seen how much the guy aged in those 3 years. That job would destroy him. He also give us some of our best nights post-Fergie as well. Tobias says, what about Tuchel? Well, I guess Tuchel wasn't talking at the Oslo Business Forum giving quotes out that we could react to. So I think Tuchel's record's pretty good. But is it a definite guarantee of success? I don't think any manager's is. And Tuchel's famously kind of fell out kind of everywhere. You know what I mean? Stephen says, Ragnick called it 110%. We needed open heart surgery. We're 2 seasons in. That's 2 trophies mid-surgery. Yep. James says, disrespectful from Ole. I totally disagree. I don't think it was disrespectful. I think if he just comes out and makes a statement, that's one thing. But if he's asked, would you go back to Manchester United at a business forum, not thinking this is a press conference that's going to get released everywhere, I think he's perfectly entitled to respond to that. Andrew says, you ruined ever hiring Tuchel for me when you called him Tommy Tickles. Soz. Bernardo says, rarely catch you live. Love the content, especially the IRL. Cheers from South Florida. Thank you. I have just uploaded a video this morning on the IRL channel. There's a link for the IRL channel in the description if you want to go and check that out. And I did want to call it, as I mentioned earlier, I made my wife moan. I was overruled, unfortunately. No one's got a sense of humour, it seems. But if you want to go check that out, I make Janine. I say make. She wanted to do it. I take Janine up to Penny Fan to do the fan dance, and it's brutal, but it's a good video. So go check it out. 54 Dunk says Tuchel is a Jose replica. It'll be fine for a year, then fall out with players on the board, and then be out the door. Jack says Ole loves the club. Why wouldn't he go back if given the chance? I think that's the top and bottom of it. I think. Mason says, thoughts on Motta? Always seemed odd to me. He was never in conversation for replacing Ten Hag. Seems to have started pretty well at Juve too. Yeah, everybody kind of starts quite well at Juve, don't they? To be honest with you. Kevin says, it didn't even work for Sir Matt when he came back for a second stint. I think that had a lot more to do with the players around at the time, but yeah, it is one of those. Obi Martin is completed, says Mika. Yeah, I did see that this morning, actually. Yeah, I don't think we'll see too much of him, to be honest. Winnie All says Company. Don't know what that's in relation to. Oh, there we go. I think similar to how Company has failed his way to Bayern and now plays brilliant football with them, why not bring Carrick back from Middlesbrough? I just don't think I've seen enough yet from Carrick. I think he's learning, and I think it takes a lot longer than people think. Andrew says, in reality, Ole was destroyed when the Glazers put Ronaldo back into the squad. Under this new structure would certainly be fun. Lee says, I want Ole back. Or John says, there was no one available at the moment. That improves on what we're doing. A few of those missed chances, and we're not having this conversation. I absolutely agree. Danielle says, who's the one person I would hire for United? You can make up a new job position. Erik Cantona is the ambassador of football. And if I'm looking for a new manager, Nagelsmann's the only one at the moment that I would like kind of sit up and be like, oh shit, that's interesting. Everybody else, especially Southgate, and people are sort of dismissing like, oh, there isn't any links to Southgate. Fucking trust me, right? There's quite a lot of people that I trust that are saying there's definitely some desire with people at United about Gareth Southgate. And I am fucking sickened and devoted. Like it's and would I keep Ten Hag over Gareth Southgate every day of the week by a long stretch? So I really don't want to see that at all ever. Josh says, feel like the media feed on manager out stories with United fuels so much debate that it benefits them to build a negative atmosphere. Totally agree. Jeffrey says, Nagelsmann is quality. Andrew says, Steve, who do I see playing at left back if we have a fully fit squad with Dalot, Mazraoui, Shaw and Malacia? It's a little bit of hypothetical, isn't it? Because we're probably never going to see Malacia and Shaw fully fit. I think right now it's Dalot's position to lose, regardless of if Shaw gets fit. He has to prove it. And I also think that we're starting to assemble 2 players in every position, which is a massive positive thing. Now, I think if we can continue developing that and start to have form where, you need to be playing well to be playing, I think that's only a good thing for United, to be honest with you. Sondre says, I love Ole, but resetting again before we see where this team is under Ten Hag after the year would absolutely suck. Things take time and our front players are young. I tend to agree with that. Pavel says, hey Steve, hope you're doing well. I hope Erik can see at United, but if he have to go, I would look at Marco Rose. There's a few said that, aren't there? Was he with Liverpool in the summer, or did I just invent that? Will says, Delict thundering header on Sunday. I've just finished recording my preview for Sunday, actually. What's everyone's thoughts on how it's going to go off on Sunday? Because our records are the same. Their form is horrendous. They're not getting anywhere near the attention that we would be getting over a longer period. It's one of them, innit? Casper says, an update on Heads Gone. When is it going out? I can't fully tell you what. It's not my business to tell you what. But Ash is busier than we anticipated him being. So we haven't managed to do it just yet. But we will see. Literally the day before we was going to film it, like a week or 2 ago, something came up. And since then, we've not been able to film it. So I would say a bit of patience. As and when we can do it, we will do it. So just chill. Tobias says, need a win. He'll probably be gone. If not a win, no. No, I don't think he'll go this weekend if it's not a win. But I think pressure will really start to get that. If you think back to like every manager that's gone, and I know this is a new set of sort of management, they only give him the absolute backing 2 months ago, right? So for them to be like, fucking sling your hook, it's got to get really, really, really bad. So if you think about all of the managerial sackings, I mean, like even like the likes of Louis got to the end of the season, but realistically he was gone in December, wasn't he? Was it like Norwich, Stoke sort of games where it just like, I got a fucking real standout memory of Memphis heading a ball back inside our box, which someone jumped onto. I don't think they scored from it, but I think they got a shot from it. There was them sort of run of games around Christmas time where that was Louis finished. But he hung on for another 5 or 6 months. And I feel like that's kind of how it is with all managers when they go. Very rarely is it like one bad result on your pop, or even 2 or 3 bad results. It gets to like double figures, doesn't it, before that people are like, no, off your pop. So, I don't think I think if he doesn't win this weekend, it'll get noisy for him, but it's one of them, innit? DRS says, Tommy Tuch's, Nagelsmann or Ole. Ten Hag has had time and money. But he's not though, has he? 2 years is not a long fucking time in the grand scheme of things. And that's 2 years with the Glazers and the remnants of the Woodward sort of management. Not the new Ineos kind of structure that we're seeing. And last season he had all of those unfit players. We are seeing improvements. We're just not scoring goals. Jack says, I feel United will hammer them Sunday, 4 or 5. This team will click. That'd be real nice if that happens. Alex says, Eriksen has been one of our better performers, just needs to manage his minutes. Do you think he can play? I'm not sure he can play. Do I think it's a big week for Erik with Spurs, Villa and Porto? Yes, absolutely. There's some tricky fucking games there. Spurs is probably the easier one of the 3. Apner says, I'd say Malacia. Them new tattooed biceps he showed off early on return show he really took care of his body in the break, unlike Snack Attack Skywalker. Wow. Colm says, not confident for the weekend. Can't see United getting results looking at the upcoming fixtures. Johnny Bro says, no way Ole comes back. Do we all remember how it finished with him? Jesus, no thanks. Yeah, but how much of that is on him and how much of that was on the 11s that he was able to get out? Being real, you know what I mean? Lucky says, media doing the very best to break the club. Buffy says, Conceal's getting the win on Sunday. A draw against Porto, then we'll be negative again. Would I rather coach United or England? Fucking United. I couldn't give a Frenchman's fuck about England. No, I would 1,000,000% rather. By the way, neither of them are ringing a fucking phone, are they? Wowsies Howie says, have you seen the XG? Lol, 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 lol. I'm sorry that you're too dumb to understand one of the most effective metrics in football. Soz, mate. Punch Paint says, Angie's catching up to Ten Hag haters. This game is bigger than we think. Harold says, Ollie was just asked in an interview by an audience. Of course, he said yes. QF Noivoy says, thoughts on Dibbling from Southampton. Apparently, Ashworth interested in for a while. He looked good against us, didn't he? Andrew says, bit concerning how mentally fragile the team look when we're up against it. Whenever we concede, it's immediately panic stations. Hopefully, Delict can help with leadership. Yeah, and I see something in Ugarte as well, where I think, like, he's blood and thunder. So it's one of them. Dane Carmichael says, and Donny, when we really wanted a DM. Yeah, he was given a Donny, wasn't he, I think. What do I think of the new George Best collection? I don't see what was different to... it's just a different shade of the stuff that they released, I guess, 6 years ago in the that navy blue shirt that they had. It was a nice shirt. But I just don't like what is the same badge. It's like, I just, all right, I guess. NC says, the problem with this United side is that I can see us beating Spurs and Porto, maybe even Villa, but then draw or lose with bad performances versus Brentford at Old Trafford. Will says, the colours are massive on the Best collection. Is it not 70s inspired, though? I would think that's probably the case, though, if that is it. Dean says, the trainers look good. I am a sucker for Adidas trainers. I have too many trainers at the moment now. I've got no room to put any more. YS says, I don't want Ollie as an ex-manager, but I would love him as an interim if things go wrong. Knows how to stabilise the club. Give us hope. Andrew says, we've got blood and thunder leadership with Martinez, Ugarte and Bruno. We need the calm leadership that Delict showed when he was a child captain at Ajax. I think both are important, to be honest with you. Thriller says, nah, you should have called it I Made My Wife Moan. Do you know what I mean? You're clicking that, aren't you? You might be disappointed in the product, but, you know. Lucky says, Casemiro, Manuel, Ugarte, leadership is massive to get the team gelling. CTB says, my hot take, Bar Hoyland Garnacho is the best finisher at the club. Well, the problem is we're not seeing anywhere near enough goals scored regardless, are we? That's the issue. Ant says, I literally cannot wear Adidas. My feet are just too wide and Adidas are made for Sparrow's feet. Andrew says, Steve, when Euro is fit, does he start ahead of Delict? No idea. No idea. Be very interesting to see how that all shakes out. Hamza says, thoughts on Thomas Frank as a manager? Not saying I want Ten Hag out, but I like Thomas Frank a lot. I think there's differences in managing Brentford and Manchester United. And I think even managing Ajax and Manchester United, Ten Hag is seeing just how much more of an issue that is. Let's talk about the Berrada statement. So this is interesting. So Laurie Whitwell's reported that the chief executive has told staff that the aim is to win the Premier League title in 2028 for the 150th anniversary of the club being formed. Now, that's the first time I think we've heard any of the executives at the club giving out sort of dedicated timelines that we're going to hit to. Lucky says, Sunday we need goals. We got steady pressure situation. Yeah, we do need goals. Subhan says, was Harry Amas injured for the cup game? What, Wednesday? He played Tuesday night. What do I think of the kid Wheatley? Any game time soon? I don't think he's Premier League level. Not yet, certainly, anyway. Apna says, what do I think What do I think? There's a connection between mental fragility and us getting tired because the team is not used to pressing and possession holding game, being not used to so much details. Not yet. There's a possibility that we are being a little bit overwhelmed with details and instructions, and including pressing. It takes a long time for players to adapt to it when they've come from different stuff. I've seen that at a lot of clubs where they've tried to change the plans so heavily. Graham says, best post Fergie, come on, he won nothing. The FA Cup wins are the best post Fergie. Well, that's subjective, isn't it? And I think no one came second and third post Fergie, and you are ultimately measured on your league success. Top and bottom of it. Would we like to have won trophies? Yeah. But you need a little bit of luck to win trophies. The league doesn't lie. He came second and third. Simple as that. You know, if he'd have fluked an FA Cup but come fifth and sixth, would that have been better? That makes no fucking sense, mate. Like, for me, Ole was the best. Do you know why he was the best? Because I felt he was the most adaptable. Now, again, that might have been some input from Carrick and McKenna, but I also felt when we went, like, under José Mourinho, I knew we were going to absolutely lock the tank and not even try to win Anfield away and some of those games. We just weren't going to do it. Now, I think Ole, whether or not he actually had the secret or the tactics, I think he believed he did, which is massive. Look at the result that we got in Paris. José Mourinho doesn't get that result. Louis van Gaal does not get that result. I don't think Ten Hag gets that result. Fucking David Moyes don't even know what that result is. So who goes and gets that result? Look at his record against Pep at the Etihad. You know, in those games, did we adapt and play off the back foot? Absolutely. Did we get the win? No. We did. Like, that's why for me is the best post Fergie. That plus when we was meant to win someone 5-0, we fucking battered them 5-0. It wasn't perfect. One of them. CTB says, Ole is the best post-Fergie manager who's thrown under the bus by the worst squad in both attitude and quality in decades. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Andrew says, do I ever take a minute to reflect that part of my job now is to log on to YouTube, read comments and just chat? Fair play. No, not really. I never really thought of it like that, but yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. Which is fine. I don't have an issue. Like, at the end of the day, like, I do a lot of videos which are 8, 10, 12 minutes. We just upload them. And then we have a look at the comments and stuff afterwards. But I think you have to have dialogue like this. You can't fucking sit in an echo chamber. And, you know, I don't think my opinion's right all the time. But I also, if I'm saying something, I tend to have a reason why I'm saying it. Mozaneer says, Solskjaer did good, but Ronaldo coming in and Greenwood drama derailed his momentum. The squad was good. The squad wasn't good. There was a lot of holes in it. So Jimmy says, what do I think about Scholes' comment on De Ligt not being an upgrade on Maguire? Yeah, I disagree. I absolutely disagree. I'm shocked that anyone's said that opinion, to be honest. I couldn't be disrespectful to Paul Scholes because of how fucking good he was as a footballer. And I would always respect someone who was that fucking good's take. Now, Scholes doesn't strike me as the sort that's flippant with his comments. So what I would ask him to do is say, okay, can you explain to me then why this is the case? Like, why do you think he's better? Because I can explain to you why I think De Ligt is better. Can you, flip it for me and explain why Maguire is better? Mozaneer says, De Ligt upgrade on Varane. Yeah, I think he is. I think he is an upgrade on Varane. Akbar says, Ole has been the best manager post-Fergie, hands down. Finishing third and second in the league is not a fluke. He should have at least finished the season because after he left, it didn't get any better. It really didn't get any better, did it? Any news on the Pizza Club coming back? I know you're both busy. Yeah, in about fucking 90 minutes, we'll be recording one. It's on Patreon. If you want to support the channel, and we are trying to think of different things to utilize Patreon for, but one of the things that is on Patreon is me and Ben chatting shit weekly. So there was one went out yesterday, and we'll be recording another one in a minute. So if you liked me and Ben talking absolute waffle, you can still get that. It's on Patreon. Link in the description. So Jimmy says his reply to McCullough was, "Who has he played against?" Yeah, I mean it's nuts, isn't it? Like, yeah, I just don't get it. Look, says mentality and doing simple hard work's key for us. Win games, score. Yep, I agree. Awi says, "Do I agree with Ole when he said he'd finish fourth if he got to see the end of the 2021 season?" You can't say that. You have no idea. He has no idea. We have no idea. Did we speak about Diddy? Don't think we did, but we might end up doing today, to be honest with you. What's for tea today? Probably. Tesco's do these things, right, called chicken scallops. There's a few different flavours, peri-peri and Cajun. Cajun one's banging. Get a little bit of seasoning on that, stick it in the air fryer. And I've just been having that like 2-3 times a week, just fucking getting after it. Joe, it's 70 days today, 10 weeks today since I last had a Red Bull. 70 days. And I feel fucking magic with it. It's good. Seeing a massive difference. Momchill says Delit is a good footballer, but always has a mistake in his game at career at United. Started good though. Hope he continue that way. Owen says all his problems began when Ronaldo came in. With Ronaldo out, Ole would do well. Adrian says, personally, I think there are still people in the team that stunk out the club for Ole that are there. I see Ten Hag has made a lot of progress, but this evolution, and there was a lot of good versus Palace. I agree. Sean says, I agree with the comment above Harry Scholes. Better that he was quiet and effective on the pitch. Way too many opinions these days. That's the top and bottom of it is, it's his job as a pundit to chat. So he's going to chat, isn't it? I got no issues with it. MF says, I genuinely think a discussion between me and Scholes on Rio Pod about Delit Maguire. Yeah, I think we could do that, to be honest with you. Am I still working with Rio? Yes, I'm there. They've changed the filming times to very early in the morning, which is very difficult to get to London too. But I am on there again in a couple of weeks with a guest. It's a very big guest. And they're getting grilled. Punch Paint says, you sat Ten Hag, now you lose 10-15 million, kiss your January window goodbye. Martin says, anyone else booking the 27th of May 2028 for the trophy parade? Lucky says, Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund, Amad Diallo, Rashford. We got to train these. How won't play for the club and dedicated. I'm not quite getting what you're saying there. Do I think we can win the league in 2028? Fucking hell, man. Like, they're hairy, not crystal. Fuck knows. If that's what the club are working towards, yeah, like you can't get there in January. Like, you're going to have like successive windows, plan in that you're going to fuck it up and there's going to be mistakes along the way, but you're going to have to plan in how this is all going to play out. Yeah. Do I think we can do it? Yeah. But, you're going to have to get a hell of a lot right. Pants off in 2028, says Ross. Fact. Are there any teams that rotate centre-halves? I can't think that any of that do, to be honest. Thinking about the return of Euro if everyone's fit. Yeah, I don't know. Sean says, I'm over on Sunday, a little scared of what might happen. Shame Spurs got their tails up last night. Ant says, might just be me, but I'm still struggling to see Mount being a long-term part of this team. Yeah, I tend to feel the same as well, to be honest. IR says, get a holiday booked for May 2028. Rico Man says, if they say their plan is to win the Prem, do I think they'll be panicking if we don't get top 4 now? I don't think so. No. But I think it's a nice idea to stick the marker out. I think 5 years is a good amount of time to be able to transform. We are probably 4th or 5th best team in the country, roughly now. So I think getting a 1 place improvement every year to win it in 2028, I think that's achievable. I think that's sensible. I think if you was like, we want to win the league next year, everyone goes, And if you say you want to do it in 20 years, well, you're going to go through 3 cycles, 4 cycles, 5 cycles of your starting 11. Like, in 5 years, you can look at our 11 and you can probably say, right, well, Casemiro, Bruno probably won't be here. Eriksen probably won't be here. And you look at the players that might be here and then working around a bit of a squad to pad that out sort of stuff. So I think it's one of those. Hamza says, thoughts on Arteta's tactics versus City. If it was Ten Hag, the whole world would erupt with anger. We are treated differently. Score predictions for Sunday. Probably goals. Luke says, can we all have some patience on Ten Hag? I think the improvements, once the forwards hit form, we'd get points on board and winning games. Looks so much better, just no goals. It's generally how I feel, to be honest. Andy says, Bruno deserves at least one title. Ant says, I'm guessing Ineos are going to recruit in the coming windows to suit their plan for the future. Can't see Ten Hag being here in 2028. I think he'll have to have won the league before that, to be honest with you. Anyways, right, I'm going to wrap it up. But cheers for tuning in, as always. I am recording the Pizza Club, Thursday Club with Ben. If you want to check that out, it'll be over on Patreon. Otherwise, if you want to go and check out the Howson IRL video, which I wanted to title I Made My Wife Moan, it's over on Howson IRL. And go and give us a subscribe over there as well. And get involved in the comments because it all helps. Otherwise, take it easy. Enjoy your Friday. And I'll see you for the preview and all the rest of that stuff. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms.